Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll begin the meeting with reports from our borough officers. Financial advisor?
I have none as of now.
Okay. Police chief's report?
I'll have a report ready for the council meeting, but just because we spoke about it at the last council meeting regarding the Walnut Street lot. So after that meeting, myself and the manager were speaking, and we decided that we'd do a poll of the vehicles parked up there. And during the day, there's anywhere between maybe 10 to 15, 20 cars at any given time. So we randomly ran tags from some of the vehicles that were parked up there and found that it was about half and half of people who live on Walnut Street or in that immediate area, people from outside the town or outside that immediate area. So with that and the fact that I think there's only been one permit purchased and one application submitted other than the one purchased, leave it up to council how far you want to take looking at this, at the parking issue up there. We don't have to run right out there and start enforcement. We can consider it for another month maybe and see if there's any more permits and then take it from there whether we're going to issue more than one permit in our house.
Okay.
But we can revisit that.
Chief, one other thing we discussed, we changed the time.
Yeah, we did change the times during the day. I think it was 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. would be paid parking. And then overnight parking would be permit only. Now, the people with permits could park there during the day too. But it would open up the lot for permit parking at night.
Okay.
If we get more.
Yeah, if it became, if we ended up with, 30 applications. I don't think we're going to get that many considering what we got now, but you never know.
Okay.
You suggested just talk to that, or just a wait and see.
Yeah, I suggest we wait until the council meeting to see if we get any more permit applications. Right now, like I said, we have one paid application and one application that was submitted without payment, I guess, pending what we were going to decide to do with that lot.
Mhm.
So there's only two.
Okay.
I know there's families who have 2 and 3 cars that they want to get permits for on that lot. If they want to buy one permit now and then we see what we have left over, as far as parking, spot wise, I don't want to fill the whole entire lot up with permit parking exclusively because, it's going to benefit the Legion, it's going to benefit some of the other businesses in the area. We already had Yummies come in saying that they're going to be using it because they have an overflow from their lot during the morning. Obviously, the Legion is going to use it, and some other, and Flint O'Hara will sometimes use it during that school time. So we don't want to take up every spot. So,
Okay.
but we can. I think a wait and see approach is not a bad idea.
All right. Can we put something out like online, just sort of seeking feedback, letting people know
I would
that?
limit it just to, the only place we're offering permits is at 2 houses on Springfield Road and Walnut Street.
Okay.
So we don't want to,
Yeah, and I would say half the houses on Walnut Street have driveways.
Okay.
I didn't do an official count of it, but it's the road that goes up Walnut Street on the same side of the lot. They don't have driveways. Not all of them do. I think 2 of them do. And then on the other side, the newer houses at the top, and then as you come down, they all have driveways. So I think we should consider the people who have no other place to park first. And if you have a driveway, we have to really seriously look at your need for those spots if it became too full.
Okay.
and I think the history, talking to some people over this conversation, is before there was bars there. So residents would come home, the bar, they have happy hours were happy hours back then, streets full, they had a place to park. I don't think we see that kind of traffic tying that parking up on the street like we would have with.
I think the major problem with the parking up there is that households have 2 and 3 cars now.
Right.
I know the lady across the street who was at the last council meeting, she didn't speak, but she did speak to the secretary. She has 3 cars in her family and no driveway. But I mean, you got to look at it in this way. They got to do the on-street parking first also. I mean, like I said, you don't want to fill the whole entire lot up with permit parking.
Right.
It defeats the purpose for the businesses.
All right.
So that's where we're at. A wait and see, I think, would be a prudent decision.
Right. And then we're still doing that study that grant money. Okay.
It's more targeted for availability of parking, we hopefully start filling these stores up.
Okay.
So we could use it for our promotion to say, business is welcome in Clifton. We're already hearing some comments from some of the business people that are happy about it because now there's going to be parking in front of the stores where they don't. People in the apartment buildings using it, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's part of the whole study is mainly to improve the business.
One of our more busier businesses, left Auburn Pike because of parking, that being Harvey's Lock. When PennDOT redesigned the intersection and X'd out the parking from the intersection of Baltimore and Springfield beyond Harvey's Lock, that was one of the contributing factors for him to leave because his customers didn't have anywhere to park there. Because PennDOT did that pie to narrow the lane. If we open up some more parking, obviously with the study, it's going to, and with some advertising, maybe it'll attract some more businesses.
All right. I appreciate the update. Anyone have any questions?
The only thing I noticed was down on Glenwood Avenue, though, there's not that many cars parking in there anymore.
Oh, yeah, because I think the what you call it, one car owner, whatever it was down there, he was using that storage.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other people were the overflow from the apartments. So that's where that was targeting, was the overflow for the apartments. We own the lot.
Yeah.
They pay their rent for their apartment and the parking spots, but they were, on that lot. So.
The other thing, septic, you may catch a couple of septic trolleys there if the lot's open.
And the same with Jefferson. Now that SEPTA's charging again, we found not an issue, but we found that their overflow from the lot was Jefferson, Madison, stuff like that. So that's why that was originally one of the first local or off highway streets that were metered years ago. So now that SEPTA went back to charging for parking after COVID, we're finding during the day that's filling up that whole street there.
Okay.
How many spots do we have there behind the Legion, roughly?
Off the top of my head, I did count them out, but off the top of my head, I'd say probably somewhere around 30, maybe a couple more, a couple less.
Yeah, a little more.
Yeah, a
About
little more.
35 or something.
Yeah.
12, 24, 35. Yeah, maybe about 35 would be accurate.
Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. Anything from the fire chief?
That fire chief's announcing that Santa has notified us that he's arriving on Sunday night. So let everybody know that, and they'll see us on Sunday night. He had an activity with his family tonight.
The chief also wanted, the tree lighting is Sunday at 6 p.m. for that, which Santa would definitely be there for that too.
Anything from JP?
JP's busy working on the projects we have.
Mhm.
And give a project report last time. He continues to update that report for the pickleball courts, the school, drainage on Madison Avenue. So he's working hard. We have one issue, like I said, we're working on an emergency. We're probably going to come to John for an emergency on the backup. We're pretty much targeted where it's at on the rear of 7 Oaks Drive, the 400 block. We had a blockage on a Sunday and it's starting to block. So we're trying to, we had the cameras in. We're pretty much waiting for him to give us an okay to do something.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Mr. Solicitor?
Two items. One is I distributed to everybody a copy of the proposed 2025 tax levy ordinance. The millage rates are filled in based upon discussions with the borough manager that the real estate is going to remain the same, no tax increase for 2025. There are blanks for the sewer and trash, And, I know the manager will talk about it during his budget presentation. So we'll just need to fill those numbers in. That'll be advertised, the availability of the budget, as well as the tax levy ordinance. And then the second matter I had is we'll present for council at the regular meeting a resolution for the appointment of the independent auditors to do the 2024 financial statements. The Borough Code requires that in December of every year, council appoint by resolution the independent auditors to do the financial statements for that year. So we'll have that for you. And that's all I have at this point.
Any questions for the solicitor?
The ordinance number comes later?
No,
No number.
There's no number, correct. I rely on Chris. Chris tells me she's the boss of the ordinance number. So
Okay.
whatever the number is, she'll put it on there.
Okay,
Oh, I see.
thank you.
Any other questions for the solicitor? Okay. Community development and code enforcement.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to start, council, please aware that, our code enforcement family, we lost a member last week with Paula Stoltreger's passing. I would just like to publicly acknowledge and thank her for her efforts, particularly with her service to the residents. Everybody who came in was greeted with a big smile and a warm reception, and she was truly an asset, and we will certainly miss her. But I would like to publicly thank Paula. I understand she started here in the 90s, so she spent quite a bit of time with the borough, serving the borough. So on that note, the other thing, we did have a meeting today with some of the county emergency management officials in this room. They were coming in to check, they were at their annual meeting with us to check and go over everything. Everything went very well. I did have the opportunity to set up this room. When we spec this room out, Tom and I worked to get it set up where we could use it as an emergency operations center if need be. So some of these pictures I took this morning showing how we would set it up to be used in an emergency situation. Up here, we're able to put up some weather maps and some traffic, other traffic cameras. The officials of the county were very pleased with the room. They think it'll be an asset and will serve very well. So I'd like to thank the council and Tom for their support in getting this room set up for that. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Gould? Okay. Next is the manager's report.
First, I want to thank all the department heads and the staff for helping Cindy and Stella, obviously, and the solicitor for getting this budget together. We have a couple of highlights on it. First off, as John said, 2025 budget presentation has no tax increase with key factors. Our collection rate in the borough, which we're very pleased with, is 97%, and the treasurer, or the tax collector, is here. That's very good. Permits for new construction, mostly it's a pass-through. You'll see a $500,000 earmark in there. That's money coming in that has to go back out for the projects. The engineering, we have to pay them first, but down the bottom on the revenue side, we equal it out by the permit fee. Our inspection fees, we've increased $20,000. We've picked up a lot more apartments. If you remember, we did some investigation on some of the properties, and we're picking up different apartment complexes that we didn't traditionally have on record. Those inspection fees and the aggressiveness of getting the inspections done in a timely manner. John's done a great job with his staff. We'll add another $20,000. We grants for the police this year. We budgeted $100,000 for the 2 officers. That's picking up the salary, the equipment, the overtime costs, and the benefit cost. So that's a grant coming in from the LSA. Our camera charge video, we have in there 2,500. We have cameras. You want to give a quick thing on that, Rock, about how that takes place and how we get the money?
Yeah, so when officers are on an accident scene, they will note and often use it in their investigation to see how the accident occurred. But they'll note on the report that there's video available. And most of the times when insurance companies see that, they will request a copy of that. Now, the processing for that is not only man hours, but hardware plus the software costs, then the hardware cost to transfer it and get it and transmit it to the insurance company. Right now, we're at $100 per video. I discussed it with Tom, and I think we should probably up that with the amount of technology that we're using to get this video and this evidence. We have cameras on every major highway in Clifton Heights, so most of our more serious accidents are captured on video. So that that's where the video income of 2,500 comes from.
I had a conversation, the solicitor like this one. I had a conversation with the Insurance Federation today to make sure that, the numbers aren't exorbitant, as long as we can justify the cost of what the cameras are versus the actual getting the disk or transfer the data to it.
Right.
We're just going to check out, he said to check out the city of Philadelphia. If anybody's going to have the fees that have already either been challenged or reviewed, they would have it. So we're working on that. But based on the amount of accidents we have in the town, I would suggest that's pretty narrow.
Yeah, and the cameras, it's just not, a flat fee. You buy a camera, you stick it on a pole and you wait for things to happen. We have costs that, the wireless cost through Comcast. We have the management cost through the company that does our camera maintenance. There's a lot more cost than just somebody calling us and saying, can you give me a copy of that video on the DVD? We have to look through the video to find the incidents we're looking for. We then have to review it to see if it's even has the ability to show fault or to show the incident itself. So there's some man time being put into that on top of the hardware costs, the software costs back in our office to be able to bring all that in our office, both in real time and in a 30-day saved format. So, I mean, it's not a money grab like, we're charging the exorbitant amount because we put a camera somewhere. There's a lot of background that goes into the public safety camera system that we started a couple of years ago.
And they didn't feel that the insurance company would balk too much if they can solve a fender bender or an accident.
Yeah.
Next one up is a light projection on what we believe Park Mobile and discussions the chief and I have had with the actual parking lots and along the storefronts. We're projecting $8,000 in a year. We'll know more on that once we go live in January, but that's a pretty conservative estimate. Expense side, we have a police contract proposal in there. The staff increase was 3%. Our healthcare is up 6%, and anticipated expenses for 25 is in that budget. And 2 new officers on the grant included healthcare and benefits, and overtime was picked up by the grant. So there was really no increase other than what we projected early on. We saw that healthcare coming up in the last 2-3 years, though. It's been 4 or 5 years, I think it was. We didn't have an increase. So we,
Definitely two.
Okay.
Definitely two. We can
yeah,
have
so
it.
I was, anticipating a little higher than that, but they came in at 6%, which is pretty good in today's economy. Mhm. On our trash and recycling cost, right now, we're projecting nothing. We're still debating that. But right now, our trash cost contract is $616,445, and our recycling cost fees is $289. We've been notified by the county of Delaware that they're going to raise the trash tipping fee, $83 per ton to $90 per ton. And that may, we'll have to talk it over with council and the finance, it's probably going to increase our trash fee by $10.50 for every resident. We need to take the residents against that. So that's open for a dialogue with council. We haven't solidified the budget yet. We have to the 18th of December to do that. If you recall, last year, we had to jump in at the last minute because they increased it last year again. This is all direct bill from the county of Delaware. Increase. It has nothing to do with the trash guy. This is after we get the trash collected, take it out to Marple. Every time that truck goes there, it gets weighed. We get a bill based on that weight, month by month. And that comes out, they're going to increase that by $10.50. Under sewer, next one. Sewer fund, or may have a 6% increase from Delcor, we're hearing, and that's an open line item as well. That would be another fee that would be passed on by Delcor, which is Delaware County Sewer Authority. And on our budget itself, it's publicized, it's out. It'll be up online. So it'll be posted till the 18th, and this is what council has in front of them, is what is posted and what's up. About a $4 million budget. John will have the breakdown. The breakdown's in that ordinance, right, John? On the sewer and trash and all that.
Yes.
It includes also the, one of the things we did do is we each year send $50,000 to the fire company in addition to their allotment to cover the ambulance costs. That's still in there. That's worked out well from last year. Fire companies responding. It's one of the most solid fire companies as far as response times and getting out the door. A lot of these towns are experiencing major problems. We were fortunate that the council was that we were able to get ahead of that and get them solid. They're 24, 7-day a week coverage there, and we're thankful for it. So that's in there as well. The thing that did stop in this year's budget was at $10,000 a year to the boys club and the PAL. So that was $20,000 back into the budget that help us keep the gap closed as far as increasing. A couple other little savings in there, but by and large, we ran a tight budget this year. I think, Stella, revenue side, we did well. As far as the expense side, tried to keep it under control.
We did.
The extra officers that council gave helped us out on the overtime. Kept that under control. The grant, backfilling that as well with the grant, really kept things in check. So, all right. Anybody has any questions during the weeks coming up? Just give me a call. I'll be more happy to go over with you. Yes.
My part, I like no tax increase, but if our sewer fees are going up and our tipping fees going up, I'd rather increase the sewer and trash fees just enough to cover it, so we're not eating into our reserve.
Understood, and that's John and myself and Stella had a pretty long conversation about that, about the county, trying to track down what the county's fees are. It'd be nice to have them well in advance rather than wait till the last minute. I like doing stuff last minute. But we definitely have to pass on their cost. That would be my recommendation, but the council has to look at it. Look, we live in a tight community when it comes to incomes. You gotta be careful, but again, we don't want to be tacking our fund balances in case of a rainy day. We have a problem here, major sewer break, or, one time it was a couple, maybe $100,000, so we have to be careful about our reserves and what's in the reserves. It's a point well valid. I mean, John knows that.
Yeah, I mean, so for the trash, I think actually, Tom, the number up there it should be 666, 455 rather than 616. I think there's just a typo in there. So there was about a $10,000 increase in the trash contract from last year to this year. And then we looked at and there was an increase from $83 to $90, so $7 a ton. We have on average just a little over 2,000 tons that we pay for. So the difference there was just about $15,000. So there's about $25,000 increase in tipping fees and the contract. Divide that by the number of households we have. I think it's 2,365, and it comes out to about $10.50. We rounded it out to $10.50 is what the suggestion perhaps is to council to cover the increases. There still is a portion of it's being used from the fund balance because the tipping fees went up so much over the last few years, and the borough didn't pass that on at that time. But we're keeping up with the increase from 2024 to 2025 with the proposed $10.50 if that's what council wants to entertain.
And one of the things I've spoke to the tax collector about, and the president, council, and the mayor, is it's time that we need to split out what the costs truly are. So I'm recommending on the tax bill itself, call it what it is. The trash truck pickup fee is X, and the county of Delaware tipping fee is X, because they're raising the fees and we're getting hit for it, and the residents need to understand and be better educated on the trash. Like, this is trash, this is recycling, and recycling costs could do better if people really recycle properly, because every time somebody puts something in a recycling can, there's no lid on it, and there's weight, and weight equals where you put a pizza box in, and it gets rejected, we pay a rejection fee. Unfortunately, we're a little bit bigger than Alden. Alden doesn't have recycling because if you have below 2,000, John?
I'm sorry?
Alden, the town you came from, they don't have a recycling, right?
Population.
Below the population number.
Because they're below 5,000
5,000.
people. They stopped it in 2020 or 2021.
So we wouldn't have, it makes no sense to me that, because it's the same trash as trash, so how they get off of it. But there's any town under 5,000 doesn't have to pay. It's a big expense to a borough, especially condensed borough where there's a lot of row homes, and trash pickup and things like that. So, but it's an expense we gotta deal with, and that all goes into that. And the tipping fee is one thing. The recycling fee goes to a different location. And when that goes down to waste management, if the truck's rejected, you get a higher fee. It's basically you pay for the trash there, which is more expensive than taking it to the tipping fee because they got to separate it. So it's a catch-22 on whatever you're doing, you know. So, and I get all the stories, and a trash man throw it in there. Well, there's a reason. If they see a pizza box, whatever, they know it's going to get rejected, it goes in the trash. So it's a problem. And the sewers is Delcora. We don't know what that is. Stella, I don't know.
I reached
hung up.
out to them. I reached out to them.
I didn't get any back either. So we'll definitely, hopefully push to have those answers to close this budget up. I'd like to close it up. It is for?
I believe the Muck and the Pades is 4, and I believe the Darby Creek, or what I,
Before.
also 4.
Okay. All right, well, you know, I'd like to get it pinned down this year where we did it so Jane can get her tax bills out. We can set up our accounts. We're ready to go when January 1st hits, you know, expenses and everything's lined up, ready to go. And hopefully we can accomplish it. So we're way ahead of the game as far as numbers are. But again, if you have any questions during the week or 2 weeks, you know, give me a call. We'll go over it. And that's about it. That's all I have as far as the manager's report. I'm busy with that.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Cannon?
I have one question. Looking at the budget, and we may, but I didn't notice it. Do we have a license, a landlord licensing fee in the borough? Okay, I didn't notice it, John. Thank you.
You bring up a good point, John. We're going to send to council, we're looking now at other municipalities for fees. We haven't looked at them in 3 years. And see what other municipalities versus for rental inspections, rentals, those fees to keep up with the salary increases for the
Thank you, Tom.
office. Because that office should self-fund itself through the fees. We might be light on a couple, I would think.
Those fees are over 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any thoughts on anything that was brought up as far as the budget? All right. All right. Next, we have council reports. Mr. Swan?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Mr. Resnick?
Nothing.
Okay. Mr. Fagioli?
Yeah, calendar, when you predict for that. Get out the new one, 25.
Oh, it'll be out by,
All right, and could we,
remember you have a January here, don't you?
and the other thing too is, can we put in what's not recycled? So we don't get that stuff next to this one? What can be
It'll
recycled?
by the page, that'll be a whole page.
Yeah,
There's a whole, read on what you can, you can't. It's drafted out. James saw it, Chris saw it, Peggy saw it. One to the mayor, one to the council president. Let them get all drafted up. I'll send it to you. You can look at it. Just give another set of eyes is always good. But probably by the 15th it'll be out. Then we get, doesn't it? That has January.
yeah.
Yeah, the new calendars that come out from last year has January in it in case we get tied up with the 5-week delay in the post office.
Mhm.
So, and it'll be the newsletter will be inside this for this year. So,
Are they doing a recycling in January?
those are
Because I mean, they don't have it here, that's why I
Yeah,
just want to know.
same. That was it.
Mr. Cannon?
Two things. I don't want to speak and burden the residents, but with the trash issue, it's not going to get any better in the coming years. So I just would encourage everyone as much as they can to keep that trash out of the rain and weather, because that adds tonnage to the trash, and dry cardboard and paper is a lot lighter than rain-soaked trash. The other thing I would like to ask, in the past, and I know we didn't do it last year, but in the past, we had a committee that they did a, lack of a better term, judging the Christmas decorations through the borough.
Yeah, the Historical Society used to do
Yes.
that.
I don't know if we can do that again. I know it was well received by a lot of people. Like they seem to like the fact that dressing up their house for the holidays was recognized. So it's just something I'd like the council to consider.
All right, thank you. Mr. Braun?
I have nothing.
Ms. Borelli?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Sunday is Frost Fest from 11 to 4, and then at 6 p.m. at the firehouse is the tree lighting. So hopefully it's going to be a beautiful day, sunny and 50 degrees. So hopefully everyone can come out and enjoy themselves. So hopefully we'll see you Sunday. That's all I have. Mr. Gorman?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Mayor?
Nothing at this time. I'll have a report for council.
All right, then we're adjourned.